You are moving into this new chapter within your healing era. You are moving into this new embodiment of the courage, authenticity, and confidence that you inherently have. You are moving into this new paradigm in which other people cannot make you doubt yourself, because you know with such certainty who it is that you are. And this Libra full moon is a divine cosmic reflection of that. My name's Comet, and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet, where we discuss all things astrology, and today, all things Libra full moon, April 5th, April 6th, 2023, and you. This full moon is casting a gigantic spotlight on the balance within your universe, or the lack thereof, with the axis of self, that's the Aries sun, versus other, that's the Libra moon, being highlighted. There is essentially a gigantic spotlight on the relationships within your world and whether or not you feel celebrated within them, whether or not you have the space to grow within them, whether or not you feel as though they are keeping you small or excited to see your growth. When it comes down to our experience down here on Earth, here on life school, so to speak, relationships are one of the juiciest lessons. We learn so much about ourselves through bouncing off our energy off others, right? There is this theme of sacred mirrors embedded into this full moon around how lovely it is to have other people who can reflect back to us certain eras of our journey. And also how certain relationships can reflect back to us certain parts of ourselves that we need to heal. This full moon involves Chiron, and Chiron is the wounded healer. And oftentimes when it comes to relationships, they can trigger us, whether it's friendships, connections, interactions with others. There can be a triggering of parts within ourselves that we have not totally healed. And sometimes in some particular connections, it can feel very familiar to stay within that wounded part of ourselves. However, the full moon story doesn't end there. This full moon also involves Jupiter. So there is this energy around being able to grow beyond these old stories, right? So if you and someone significant within your world are sort of embedded into this old story that's sort of holding you guys back, there is this illumination with this full moon about being able to grow beyond it, expand beyond it. However, for some, this full moon can be an illumination around how certain connections are intentionally trying to keep you small. And probably not because they're evil individuals or anything of that nature, but simply because change can be scary. Oftentimes when we embark in connections, it's like, okay, I'm gonna be like this, you're gonna be like this, and it's gonna be like that. Sometimes when someone sees you growing, it can threaten them because it reflects to them. Again, sacred mirrors, relationships are constant reflections. It can reflect to them around, ooh, I'm stagnant, or ooh, if they evolve, I'm going to be abandoned. Like with Chiron being activated within this full moon, there can be this certain illumination around certain wounds and how people want to keep you small because it activates certain wounds within them. And I always say with Chiron, it's not that everybody is going to be triggered, right? It's just what it is that we do with that trigger, right? We can use that trigger to lash out, right? To try to hinder growth, to try to keep the person that we adore exactly how it is that it is now, even if it's not true to their own essence and to their own growth. Or we can use this Chiron energy embedded into this full moon to essentially illuminate what within us is pinging, what within us is this relationship reflecting, what within our journey is this relationship mirroring to us, certain cycles that we've been in. And that can be very powerful should we choose growth, should we choose to evolve beyond it, should we be able to balance, that's a key theme with this full moon, this interaction of what it is that we become when we become a we, right? You plus me, while also ensuring that we are being true to our own independence, to our own essence, to our own growth. Within this video, we will be breaking down the themes of this Libra full moon, how it is that you can celebrate this Libra full moon, how to see where exactly it lands within your natal chart so that you can see where you are being guided to find balance, where it is that you're being guided to harmonize this experience of self versus other. And before we dive in, If you are new to my channel, hello, my name is Haley Comet. I cover every single new and full moon, all signs forecast, as well as a weekly horoscope series here on my channel called Magic Monday. I would feel so honored if you felt inspired to give any engagement at all. It's so helpful for me to continue to create cosmic content. And without further ado, let's dive in. So the Libra full moon exacts on April 5th, 2023 at 9:34 p.m. PDT. So do keep in mind, this is PDT, otherwise known as GMT -8, I believe. I'm on the West Coast of the United States. So dependent on where it is that you are located within this beautiful planet that we are residents on, make sure to adjust to your time zone because it could very well land on April 6th for you. This full moon lands at 16 degrees Libra, of course, opposing the sun at 16 degrees Aries. And as I mentioned, this is the axis of self versus other. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It represents essentially the raw expression of life, our own authenticity, who it is that we are before we feel the need to polish and be pristine for others, right? It is essentially us being able to march to the beat of our own drum, be our own individual without feeling like we have to censor or filter. Can that energy be brash and impulsive at times? Absolutely. But Aries energy is essentially this return to our authenticity, right? To that raw expression of who it is that we are without feeling like we need to sugarcoat and polish in order to be accepted by others. And this full moon, Libra, which is this energy around balancing with others. Libra is a very charismatic sign. It's very dialed into other people. It's very intelligent, right? Aries is about raw instinct. Libra is about measured responses. Libra is about interacting and harmonizing with others. Aries is about to thine own self be true. Aries is about independence. Libra is about interdependence. How sometimes what it is that we can create as a unit can be even more powerful than what it is that we can create individually. And truly, to the core of this full moon, it is a call for balance. Both the balance of self versus other, which is why Libra is the sign of balance. It's represented by the scales, right? What it is that you need, what it is that I need. You're talking and now I'm talking. This is what you want, this is what I want. What is the compromise? What is the in-between? So it both is this call for balance within our relationships, right? But also this call for balance in many other arenas of our life. With Aries being the first sign of the zodiac that governs instinct and initiative and going after what it is that we want, sometimes there can be a tendency to burn ourselves out or to go too fast. And with the energy of Libra, it's asking for this balance, right? So whatever in your life feels out of control at this time, if you've been working too much, right? If you've been spending too much time with people and need more time alone, the Libra full moon is essentially asking us to draw back into balance within our world so that we can prepare for the upcoming eclipses, which more to come on that certainly, but essentially drawing back and finding this beautiful balance within our universe, which is beautiful because as we just celebrated the equinox, obviously all around the globe, the hours are pretty balanced, right? In terms of daylight versus nighttime. There is this desire within nature for us to be able to find the balance within our universe, whether it relates to time alone versus time with others, time at work versus time playing. Essentially, there is this energy to balance out the scales of our life, to notice what has gotten imbalance and just gently bring it back into balance for more enjoyment and pleasure and harmony. Libra is governed by Venus after all. So with this full moon, there is this balance of these opposites, right? Aries being this very brash, impulsive, raw energy, and Libra being this very balanced, harmonious, polished one. And truly, there is this illumination in this full moon about relationships and partnerships. And where it is that we feel like that Aries part of ourselves, right? The brash, raw part of ourselves, where that is celebrated and where it is that we feel like we have to filter and monitor, right? Where it is that we feel like we have to perform in order to feel accepted, in order to feel loved and appreciated. And that would be just a great thing that I would tune into with this full moon. After you hang out with people, are you energized or are you drained? And obviously, dependent on the circumstance, like certainly at work, you're going to feel tired. But when it relates to the interpersonal connections within your world, do you feel you have to behave in a certain way for them to accept you, for them to validate you? And is that sustainable? When it comes to this full moon, I want you to tune into whether you feel energized or whether you feel drained by the connections within your world. With this theme of balance, I want you to observe how symbiotic your relationships are. You give and they give back. There is a give and take. Observe where people are taking and taking and taking. I've said this in a couple of videos, but it bears repeating here in that givers have to have limits because takers have none. And if you're noticing within connections, you are just giving and giving and giving, and you don't feel you're getting anything in return, this full moon is asking for this balance, right? Giving people the energy that they are giving you, right? As well as really appreciating and honoring, because I'm not saying everybody needs to cut people off this full moon. If you have those symbiotic connections within your life, this is a time to celebrate them. The sort of connections where you see them and they see you, and there's just this give and take, this flow of energy around the two of you interacting. And I apologize if the sun is going in and out. I suppose the weather is listening to this theme of balance because it keeps getting like super dark and then super light. So I apologize if that's distracting. But as it relates to the relationships, I want you to really honor the connections that genuinely see you, right? That pour into you, that allow you to kind of take the mask off and to be your own self. That can be so healing to feel genuinely seen, right? Genuinely heard, especially if you've been in that performing energy for a long time. You feel like you've had to perform. And a lot of times, especially with this full moon, involving Chiron, that can come from a wounded place within us, right? What within us we felt like we needed to hide. Don't let them see, don't let them see. But being able to take that mask down and allowing ourselves to be genuinely seen within our vulnerability, within our messiness, within this Aries-like energy. So for some, there feels to be an illumination certainly around, wow, this is a relationship I do feel like I have to perform. This is a relationship I do not feel safe to be myself. This is a relationship that is built more so on appearances, how things look, and not so much on how things feel, how things are to their rawest instinctual core, right? The energy of Aries. And so with this full moon, it's both asking, how is yourself staying true within this interaction with other, right? How are you feeling safe to allow yourself to be seen within your authenticity, within your vulnerability, as well as what is it that you are learning about yourself through this interaction with other? And truly, we learn so much about ourselves through this interaction with others. So I'm not saying during this full moon it's a time to hide away and just be like, I need to perform for you all, because there's lots to learn about essentially connecting with others. There's something to be said about being able to meet someone where they're at without losing your own essence, without feeling like you need to perform or be something that you are not, allowing yourself to genuinely be seen. We can learn so much about ourselves by bouncing our energy off of others. I feel sometimes that, my soul is like a paint by numbers, and that every single connection and relationship that I have is like a different color, and it fills in the picture of my soul, the picture of your journey. We learn so much about ourselves through interactions with others, connections through others, compromising with others, collaborating through others, seeing the world through others' eyes. We can learn more about ourselves. So it's a delicate balance, how to interact with these partnerships and relationships without losing our own essence, how it is to celebrate our essence while still compromising and collaborating with other individuals, because we can learn a lot seeing the world through other people's eyes, right? And the reason why healing is so embedded into this full moon's energy is because this full moon opposes Chiron in Aries. So again, for some of us, there's going to be some triggering but also healing energy around this full moon. Triggering in that with Chiron, other people can be reflecting to us certain parts within our journey that we have not healed. Hence this theme of sacred mirrors. We never fully see people as they are completely objectively. We see people through this kaleidoscope vision of our own shared experiences, right? Like when you have a kaleidoscope, everyone's looking at the same thing, but dependent on the colors in our kaleidoscope, we all see it differently. And that's how it is with people too. From your own lived experiences, you're going to interact with different people differently. And that's why you really can't take it personally if somebody doesn't like you or what people say about you. Because again, people will never 100% see you without the bias of their own experiences, their own projections, their own triggers, things of that nature. They will not see you completely. So you cannot put too much value, too much stock into what other people say about you. Like again, the Aries energy is saying, remember who it is that you are and essentially celebrate the relationships that see you within that, but also don't worry about needing to be liked or accepted by everybody. Because with the opposition Chiron, there will be people who you just trigger them, your presence, and that is okay, okay? And I also want to highlight, when it comes to relationships, there can be some stuff, hence why it's such a beautiful lesson in life school. Like the context of interacting with others, it naturally brings up stuff. And sometimes, whether you want to call it a trauma bond or what have you, sometimes within connections, whether this is friendships, whether this is relationships, whether this is now or this was a prior connection within your world, sometimes we can get stuck within that wounded part of ourselves, or only be able to relate based on those wounds, whether it's like an abandonment wound or meeting one another during a tough time, like never growing beyond it. Because of course, when it relates to Chiron energy, that wound will always be part of us, right? It gives us a particular life experience. It gives us a particular perspective. But with the energy of this full moon, it's asking us to shift the relationship to that essentially wound, particularly as it comes to our relationships. So if there is connections within your life where the only thing that you guys have in common was this particular era that you guys met during, or the only way that you guys can relate to one another is from that wounded parts of yourself, this full moon is illuminating it. And maybe it's not a shared experience. It could just be something that this relationship makes you look at, which is why relationships can be so powerful, because it makes us look at different components of ourselves as we bounce our energy off others, right? And with this energy of Chiron, it's essentially this part of ourselves that's being activated, and it can be a painful part, but it's not asking you to stay within that wound. It's not asking you to stay within that hurt. It's asking if you can allow the sun, the exalted sun, to sort of shine into that Chiron, because this is the day of the Chiron Kazemi, the day of the full moon. So there's a lot of energy of this light kind of shining into the wound. How can we allow this relationship to spotlight this wound, whether it's, a boss, a friend, a partner, whoever we're interacting with that is bringing a part to ourselves where it's like, ooh, that still hurts. How can we allow the light in to observe, hey, that's a part within me that I'm still healing, right? I'm still healing, and I'm not going to identify with that part. I'm not going to keep myself small within that part, because maybe it can be unintentional sometimes, like the way that somebody talks to you just brings you back to experience that you had when you were younger and just triggers this part of you that just makes you want to lash out, right? Sometimes it's unintentional. They had no idea about that lived experience. Sometimes people want to make you small, right? They want to pick at where it is that you are insecure. That's why it's important within this full moon to really illuminate which relationships do I feel bigger, more empowered, more seen, more confident, and which ones make me feel smaller, right? Which ones almost like that wounded part of myself because it keeps me small, it keeps me stagnant. Because this full moon also involves Jupiter. So there is this theme around growing beyond these wounded parts of ourselves. Like understanding there might still be a sting when we contemplate these past experiences, but now not allowing it to be interwoven into our identity or interwoven into the identity of our connection. So to simplify this full moon, plain and simple, it is this full moon that illuminates whether the connections within our life are toxic and destructive or positive and constructive. Because with this energy of Chiron involved, it's this illumination around where people want to keep you small. They want to highlight your insecurities. They want you to doubt yourself, which again, can sometimes be unintentional, but sometimes when it comes to loved ones, sometimes that wounded part feels familiar to them, right? If you guys connected on that wounded part, it can feel very triggering to see that you are growing and healing beyond it. So this full moon illuminates which connections want to keep you small, want to keep you insecure, want to keep you triggered, want to keep you weighted down by the same old wounds, and which relationships are, yes, mirroring to you where it is that you need to heal and grow, but supporting you as you do, empowering you as you do. And I do feel called to share, whether you are butting up against this Chiron energy within your relationship is showing you parts of yourself that have felt wounded, right? And for the purpose of growing beyond it, maybe some of you are single and some of you don't believe in love, or don't believe it's safe to allow yourself to be loved or allow yourself to be seen. I want to let you know, with this energy on Chiron, being mindful not to react and build your life from that wounded part of yourself. I know a lot of us have had really horrible experiences as it relates to relationships that really fundamentally change how it is that you view humanity, right? And when you're operating from that wounded part of yourself around everybody hurts me, everybody leaves, everybody's going to betray me, you forget that people can be good at heart. And depending on where you are in your journey, you might be like, okay, yeah, right. But truly, people can be good. A lot of times when you interact with some evil within this world, you can really operate in that Chiron part of yourself, which is trying to keep you safe, by keeping other people at bay, right? It's trying to reaffirm what that Chiron story is trying to tell you around everyone's going to hurt you, everyone's going to betray you. So when it happens, that, wounded part of yourself is like, yep, I told you, right? I told you. Like, the mind wants to be right. Our ego wants to be right. That Chiron wants to be right about it. And when it comes to operating from that Chiron part, sometimes we can subconsciously be drawn towards individuals who sort of trigger that part of ourselves or trigger familial wounds. Like, some of this stuff can go back, even like ancestrally, things of that nature, being drawn to people who are not necessarily good for us, who sort of like bring that familiarity, even if it's not healthy nor constructive. And I just want to share a quick story. You can jump to the next portion if you don't want to hear it. I am somebody, you can probably tell from my YouTube channel, I'm very, very open. Like, my energy is always open. I love people. I love interacting with people. I'm always open to new people, perhaps sometimes too open and giving with my energy at times. And that has led me down some scary, bad paths at times. And I remember this particular fall, it was the most traumatizing experience of my life. Just like multiple people back to back, deep, deep betrayal. Like, I had never really seen evil that clearly before. And again, I'm not saying they're evil, but what was done was evil. What was done was evil, and it was deep, deep pain, deep, deep betrayal, and it really made me close off my energy, which obviously was something I needed to learn. I had never really been hurt like that, and it did make me draw back my energy a lot, and it literally made me lose faith in humanity, and it literally made me seal off my energy. People are evil. It is not safe for me. It is not safe for me. I was operating so strongly from that wounded part of myself, right? And every time it would happen again, I'm like, see, people are evil. See, people are evil. See, people are evil. Finally, it came to a head, and I was sobbing. It was pouring rain dramatically, but I was sobbing in my car with the pouring rain, praying to God. I was literally praying. I was like, please, I think my exact verbiage was, I was like, please send me an angel. Like, I just need one person who is pure at heart, just so I believe in humanity again, which I know is so dramatic. Like, I love people and I see so much good in people, but during that time, I think because I was operating from that wounded part, I was just attracting a lot of people who just would re-trigger. It was horrible. If you've been down one of those paths, you know what I'm talking about. Like, when you are kind of in that traumatized state, you're more likely to be drawn towards people who kind of re-traumatize you because you're bonding from that wounded part of yourself. Anyways, prayed to God. I was like, please send me an angel. I need to believe in the good in life because all I've seen is evil and I'm so scared. I don't feel like people are safe. I feel like everybody's going to hurt me. I feel like everybody wants to take advantage of me. And literally 2 days after I met my partner, and it's not to say that, when we meet our partnership, it's happily ever after. Like, that relationship really was a mirror to what I needed to heal because it was healthy and I'd been in these destructive cycles for so long that it felt very unfamiliar, right? What feels familiar can sometimes be toxic, right? And so the healing journey just continued, but he is pure at heart and he made me re-believe in humanity. People are good at heart, okay? There really are good people out there, and I know when you've been hurt, it's hard to believe in that. It's hard to believe that, your person, your relationship is coming, but I'll tell you, it absolutely is. And the person who comes along when you're healing, it's a different sort of love. It's soft, it's gentle, it's supportive. It makes you re-believe in this world. It makes you re-see your own beauty as well. It makes you literally find the good in everything. And it's not to say it's like happily ever after when we find that person or that people, you know, solve all of our problems. But what I will say is with this energy, if you are operating from that Chiron energy where you feel it is not safe for me to let people in, people are only going to let me down, I guarantee you there are a lot of people who are pure at heart, who are good, who want good for you. I know if you've had experiences like I had that time of my life, it's hard to believe in that. Like if you would have told me that, I wouldn't have believed it. But you know, if the idea of praying resonates for you, feel free to pray. I truly don't think it's an accident that he came 2 days after. That's why we literally call each other angel, because he was going through some stuff, I was going through some stuff, and we both were one another's angel like during that time, because together we both made the other person re-believe in life and re-believe in the good in life and believe that people can be pure at heart and people are not just trying to take from you, okay? That relationships can be symbiotic. They can be this give and take, and it's hard when you've felt betrayed over and over, when you've been in this giving space where you're like, when is someone going to give towards me, right? When is it going to be symbiotic where we can just like water one another? It is coming, okay? And with this Libra full moon, whether it's a spotlight on what within you needs healing, whether it's a spotlight on what it is that you want within a connection, certain relationship cycles that are present within your world, just because there's this Chiron wound, again, don't necessarily believe the wound, right? Like it's a powerful thing, right? Illuminating where it is that we need healing, but also understanding the wounded part of ourselves will be drawn to people who are bad for us, who keep us in that loop of familiarity, keep us in that loop of toxicity. Sometimes it takes illuminating, hey, I'm operating from this wounded part, but I'm choosing to grow into believing in the good in people that I can call in this symbiotic relationship. So that'll only be a message for a couple people, but I felt it important to share. So we'll get into more specifics because where it's landing within your chart can bring up some other themes. But let's talk about how it is you can celebrate this Libra full moon. So rituals are something that are deeply personal, dependent on your practice, but I do like to share a couple of ways that you can celebrate this Libra full moon that the astrology of this lunation truly honors. Firstly, it is this balance of self versus other. So I do want you to interact with people, right? With this Libra full moon, we can find we're more social, we're in the mood to connect, but also I want you to make sure that you're carving some time to be on your own as well. It really is this balance. Time with others, time alone, ensuring that we have that space to get back to our own energy so that we can really be present for how our energy shifts when we are around people, right? That's how we can tune into, hey, am I more energized or less energized when I spend time with people? Like the more that you tune into your own energy, the more you tune into how that shifts around people. Like, oh my gosh, I feel so drained after spending time with those people. Or, oh, I feel so much more energized than I did yesterday when I was alone. Like getting back to your own energy so that you can really compare and contrast how that feels in contrast with the individuals that you spend time with. I would also say with this Libra energy, and particularly with the Chiron energy, I would take some time to essentially journal on what is mirrored to you. And this can be in such micro ways. It's the thing about Chiron full moons is that it's not necessarily something happening, right? It's these micro ways that ping at something deeper, that ping at where it was that you felt inadequate, where it was that you felt like you had to perform certain parts to yourself that you felt were ugly, so you learned to hide it with a mask, right? So it can be in such micro ways, like your partner saying, you're so messy. You are so messy, and it brings you back to your parents saying you're so messy and brings you back to that part of you that feels unlovable, right? And with Chiron and Aries, maybe even wanting to lash out because of that space, right? And rather than doing that, there's a gap time with this full moon around the stimuli coming in of where it is that we are feeling wounded, where it is that we're feeling insecure. And rather than reacting impulsively, there will be a tendency to want to do so with all the energy of Aries, but having that gap time around balancing that instinct of the Aries energy with the Libra energy of balancing thinking, okay, where is this coming from and what are my steps of how to deal with this? Observing what within that ping, because oftentimes if we just lash out around, you don't know anything, get out of here, I worked so much today, and you want everything to be clean all the time, like going on the offense, right? Rather than that, taking a moment to be like, okay, what within me feels triggered when my partner says that I'm messy? Or even just micro ways that that's reflected to you in your dealings with others, right? Where it is that you feel like it is unsafe to be your own self, and where it is that you feel like you have to perform, put on a mask, or be something that you are not. And so when it relates to this full moon, staying open and staying aware to these pings within you and finding that gap time to see, okay, what within me particularly is this essentially bringing to the surface, as well as just staying present for where it is that you feel like you have to put on a show, right? Where it is that you have to be what others want. Like, we adore Libra energy because they are very, very extraordinarily socially intelligent. They know how to read people and how to meet people on their level. They are very persuasive in that. They are very charismatic in that. But with this Libra energy, it's just kind of observing those ways that you feel like you have to embellish or exaggerate in order to perhaps feel loved or in order to feel validated. And seeing, even in micro ways, where it is that you can allow your authenticity to shine through during this full moon, whether it's being vulnerable with a friend about what is genuinely happening without feeling like you have to have it all together, whether it's, wearing something to work that really celebrates the person that you are, finding those ways of really reclaiming where it is that you are without feeling like you need to perform or be pretty or polished for others to accept you. And there is this divine celebration of the connections that do celebrate you. So I would definitely say with the Libra moon, there is this energy of balance. So also during the full moon, doing something that balances out your energy. So if you've been go, 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 maybe it's taking some time to rest. If you've been spending lots of time working, maybe it's spending some time playing. It's basically just this divine balance within your world and finding it, which is a constant practice, of course. So I'm so sorry if the camera angle changed slightly. My battery died, but I also wanted to highlight full moons are the time for illumination, right? It is a time for reflection on certain parts of ourself. And so if there is old stuff that comes to the surface, I would say it's very powerful with Jupiter, Chiron, and the Sun in Aries to essentially write down parts of ourselves that we are ready to let go. And not that it's a part of yourself that you're letting go, but I would say old stories of how you have kept your true essence hidden, right? How you have had to perform. So observing as you interact with others, oh, I don't feel like it's safe for me to share my true interests of astrology. Writing down when hiding my true interests on a piece of paper and burning it can be a powerful full moon ritual. And I would deeply recommend, whether it is around your friends, whether it is with your partner, balance your energy off others. This full moon is an illumination of the connections within our life. So while I'm saying retain your own essence, a beautiful way to learn about yourself is through the interaction with others. And because sometimes what it is that we create as a unit when we both are in our power and both celebrating the person that we are is even more powerful. So even if you have been hurt by past partners, I see that clearly with Chiron involved in this lunation, I want you to stay open to new individuals and what they can shine to you about you, open to allowing that story within you around everybody's going to betray me, allowing people to show you differently. I know a lot of times, dependent on where you are within this journey, when Chiron stuff is activated, there could be this energy of just closing ourselves off, right? Keeping ourselves protected. And maybe that's why you've hid your true essence when it relates to connections, because you let people see you in the past and then they betrayed you or did you dirty or what have you. And now it's like, got to keep myself hidden, right? And with this full moon, it is this celebration around what it is that you want within a partner, calling in partners who really see, honor, and amplify your energy, right? Relationships that are constant like lessons for you around where it is that you've been keeping yourself small, and honoring the relationships that are supporting your growth. They do exist, okay? Do not listen to the wounded part of yourself, which is trying to convince you that everybody is out to hurt you. There is so much sweetness and beauty within this world. I want you to believe in that, okay? All in all, you can do whatever you want for your full moon ritual. I would definitely say spend time with others, find balance, find beauty around you. Like I would even get fresh flowers around the home. Like Libra is the energy of Venus. So celebrate what is beautiful within your life. Celebrate what is beautiful in others. I would interact with at least 3 people, like call some people, interact. Like there is so much beautiful reflection that happens when we interact with others, mentors and friends and partners. And oftentimes we have to like work that muscle around intentionally reaching out. And sometimes you'll find like those random calls, like someone could tell you something that you needed to hear. You could tell somebody else that they needed to hear. Like we are all sacred mirrors for one another, and you know, bouncing your energy off of the sacred mirrors of others can amplify certain qualities to you about you. So interact with individuals, celebrate the beauty within your life, celebrate the harmony within your life, and enjoy. So let's get more nuance on this full moon by seeing where it lands with your chart. So there are multiple ways to do this. The first being, if you are newer to astrology or you utilize whole sign house system, what I want you to do is look in the description, find your rising sign, and advance to that timestamp. If you use Placidus, I do as well. It is a little bit more tricky, but if you use this house system, I believe it's worth it. Okay, this is the one that I use, but totally up to you. So do the following. What I want you to do is go to astro.com, look at your circle chart. This full moon lands at 16 degrees Libra. So we will want to see where within our charts 16 degrees Libra lands in. And even if you do not have Libra placements, I guarantee you have 16 degrees Libra within your chart. Here's how to find it. Firstly, find the Libra symbol. In Astro, it's like a yellow-orange color, and I'm circling it on screen. Find that sector. From line to line, this is the Libra portion of your chart. So you are welcome to just listen to the 2 houses. Those are the numbers in the inner ring. So we see within this example, the Libra symbol expands through the 8th and the 9th house. So you're welcome to listen to both the 8th house and the 9th house reading, taking what resonates for you. Or let's get specific and see where exactly 16 degrees Libra lands in within your chart. So what I want you to do is find the portion of Libra that borders on the Virgo symbol, which will be like an M with the tail tucked in and green in Astro. Find where that Virgo symbol ends and the Libra begins. This is 0 degrees Libra. Find these little grid marks. These symbolize increments of 5. So we go 5, 10. That one's a little bit longer. 15, a little bit shorter. Since this full moon lands at 16, we know once we find that 15, right about halfway through Libra, we know the full moon's right around there. So we see within this example, that would land in the 9th house. Let's say you can't exactly tell. Like in this example, it's most likely in the 9th house, but let's say you were like, ooh, it might be in the house prior. What I want you to do is click PDF additional tables. This will let you know where every house begins, okay? So if you are torn between 2, find that Libra symbol and see where the house begins. So we see here, the 9th house begins at 13 degrees Libra. So because this full moon lands at 16 degrees Libra, we have confidence that it for sure lands in the 9th house. If you see that the Libra symbol isn't here, that means that the Libra portion of your chart is what we call intercepted. So it means it's swallowed up completely by a house, in which case you'll be able to tell which house it's in, because then the entire expanse, Libra to Libra, will be swallowed up by one house. So I hope that was helpful. Let's go ahead and take it into our house by house Libra full moon analysis. If the Libra full moon April 5th, April 6th, 2023 lands within the 1st house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Libra ascendant, or you just have 16 degrees Libra within your 1st house. Either way, this reading is for you. So this full moon lands in your 1st house and your 7th house. So again, it's reiterating these themes of self versus other, parts of ourself that we feel celebrated within our interaction with other, and parts of ourselves that we can feel triggered or made smaller by our interaction with other. I really want you during this full moon to illuminate yourself, because here's the thing, a lot of you guys are Libra ascendants, not all, but a lot. And a lot of you can have a tendency to find your own value through the interaction with other, or allow the people within your life to take up more space than you take up. A lot of you can find it natural to want to keep the peace, keep the harmony amongst others, and keep parts of yourself subdued. And with this full moon, it's essentially illuminating the person that you are and getting back to it, sort of decalcifying what it is that you felt like you had to put forward in order to feel accepted and appreciated. And for some of you, you are in a major lesson of life school at this time. And truly, a lot of you have Jupiter transiting the 7th currently. And so you can find people can be showing up for you in a brand new way. You can be more magnetic as it relates to others. And for some of you, you are attracting people who believe in you, who hype you up, who make you attuned to how beautiful you are, how empowered you are. But also with Chiron in 7th house, some of you are processing some stuff in your connections, whether you are healing from a relationship, whether even just the interaction with others, even if unintentionally, people are just illuminating parts within yourself where it's like, ooh, ouch, right? Ooh, ouch, my ex did that. Or like, ooh, ouch, my old best friend did that. And it's sort of pinging and bringing to the surface certain parts within your journey. Again, with Jupiter involved with this full moon, there is this growing, right? So as these elements are being pinged and brought to your awareness at this time, allowing yourself to be a little selfish, honestly, with this full moon in the 1st house, and really choose to have the people who up-level you have access to your energy. Not everybody who asks for your energy at this time deserves it, okay? And as it relates to this full moon, it's really choosing to intentionally share your energy, your radiance, your love with those who see, honor, and celebrate your own essence. And getting back to that, with your Libra energy, there can be a tendency to lose yourself in this interaction with other. And with Chiron, maybe you're just forgiving yourself for those past ways that you felt like you've betrayed yourself by making other people the star. It is safe for you at this time to be the star of your own show, okay? And with this full moon in the 1st house, I also want you to do what it is that makes you feel like a goddess, what it is that makes you feel like royalty. Like, full moons in the 1st house are a really lovely time as it relates to spa days or going shopping or doing something to celebrate yourself. I'm just feeling strongly for a lot of you, a lot of your energy goes towards others, which is a beautiful factor to yourself. This is why you are so charismatic, why you are so giving, and that's a beautiful thing. But what a beautiful opportunity to pour into yourself as well, pour into your own magnetism, because that's the thing. You can find that you're so magnetic as it relates to other people, and a lot of people wanting your energy with most likely Jupiter in Aries. You get to be a little more choosy. You get to be a little more particular around, are these people like heightening my energy or are they not? And can I give myself what it is that I feel like I need from others, right? Because again, I'm not saying relationships are bad. They're amazing life school, but also seeing where it is that you're trying to outsource your happiness in ways that you can find for yourself. So maybe you're looking for a sense of meaning as it relates to relationship, but maybe just taking the day to do things that pour into yourself, that make yourself feel good, whether that's going to the spa, going to the museum, do something sweet for yourself. I just feel strongly this is a full moon to essentially bring the you back in the you and me, right? As a lot of you, your energy has been going towards others, or for some, I'm just strongly feeling there's been energy around needing someone else to save you or feeling like someone else can save you, but understanding no one will save you in the ways that you will save yourself. So doing something sweet for yourself in this full moon. If certain healing gets brought to the surface that you are craving at this point in time, being present with yourself, nurturing that within yourself. I also want to say, with a full moon in the 1st house, your body can be trying to tell you something. So particularly when it comes to interacting with others, I want you to pay attention to the physicality of how it is that you feel in that person's presence. Do your shoulders lock up? Does your tummy like feel upset? Like, observe the data that your body is trying to tell you about this interaction with others. Also, I feel strongly for some of you, this is asked to really deepen your connection to your body, work out, do something sweet for yourself. It's a Venus ruled full moon. Do something sweet for yourself, something loving for yourself. Be mindful of where it is that you're trying to outsource healing around. This person will fix me. This person will save me. If I just make my entire life about this person, then I'll be happy. Like with this full moon in the first house, it's illuminating. How can I fix myself? How can I heal myself? How can I show myself the love and compassion that I'm looking for in others? Again, it's not saying that people are bad, but I just feel with this full moon in first house, it's this radiant spotlight on you. If the Libra full moon, April 5th, April 6th, 2023, lands within the second house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Virgo rising. Potentially, you may not be. You may just have 16 degrees Libra within the second house. Either way, this reading is for you. So for you, with this full moon landing within the second house, there is this illumination on your resources, possessions, and money. And since you do have Libra within your second house, a lot of you likely do earn your income through others, one-to-one contacts in some way, whether you work in sales, whether you work in consultations or with people in some way. There can feel that there's a bit of a popularity contest in terms of how it is that you make your income to a certain level, and it can ping certain parts of your value. If money goes down, feeling like it says something about your value. If you're making lots of money, feeling like, oh, I'm so valuable, people like me so much. But again, we get into this troublesome territory when we are equating our own value to how much people like us, or whether or not people are paying us, or whether or not we're earning commission from people, right? And with this full moon opposing Chiron, it's really observing where it is that you are taking things very personally as it relates to your money and your finances and things of that nature. So maybe like for you, you keep getting denied, your job applications keep getting denied, and you're like, am I a loser? I feel so lame. Maybe for some of you, it's this energy where you own your own business, and when things are going up, you feel great about yourself, and when things are going down, you feel horrible about yourself, right? There is this energy around, you can feel like your value is determined by how much people like you, and you can have a hard time separating between this is how I make money and this is who it is that I am. And with this full moon, there's this healing energy coming in, okay? There absolutely is a spotlight on finances, so it can be time in which financial news comes up, or some, bills come up, or expenses come in. But especially with the opposition to Jupiter, right? Big money coming in, big expenses going out, something of that nature. But I also want to say with Chiron, there's this healing energy around no longer identifying what it is that you earn money with as your value, okay? There can be this energy around you've been taking it very personally, and you no longer need to take it personally, okay? It doesn't say anything about you. And for some of you, I feel that there can be a call for boundaries between who it is that you are, your life force, your essence, and what it is that you do for income. Because I do feel for some of you, it's been challenging for your confidence, right? You've been wanting other people to determine your value when, my love, only you can do that. I will say some of you are being guided during this time to do something to celebrate your own essence. So for some of you, maybe you could take yourself on a spa day or buy something nice for yourself. Again, it's not saying that you need nice things in order to feel loved or in order to feel valued. But I feel for some of you, perhaps there's this energy around never feeling like you've earned it. And this is a full moon around understanding you are valuable, not because of the money coming in, not because of other people complimenting you, but just because you are, and doing those things that nurture and honor your own essence, and treat yourself like the goddess you are. Buy yourself flowers, buy yourself something nice. Money to a certain degree is to be spent, like obviously be wise with things, but to a certain degree, if you've been working really hard, you do deserve to enjoy the fruits of your labor. I feel with some of you with Libra in the second house, you might find it easier to spend money on other people than you do yourself. And with this full moon within the second house, it is essentially this energy around celebrating the fruits of your labor and seeing the value in what it is that you have worked towards without feeling like other people need to validate you for it to have meaning or for it to have worth. And for some of you with this energy of Libra in the second, there can be this energy around needing to balance your spending, right? Being able to balance what's coming in and what's going out, right? Maybe some of you don't feel comfortable spending money on yourself. Maybe you're spending a lot of money on yourself. Either way, there's this divine, essentially, balancing taking place around the giving and the receiving, and feeling worthy to receive and feeling worthy to spend because you understand it's coming right back. With this balanced energy, money is truly a give and a take. And truly, with a lot of the energy in the 8th house, like a lot of you have been guided to like understand you can't take it with you, okay? Whether you're on the side of, you know, hoarding every cent that you make or spending it all, with a lot of the cosmos gathering within the 8th house, there is this energy around feeling safe to allow others to pour into you, as well as being able to dive into the aspects of our life that are not tangible. Again, it's a balancing act here. There is a balancing around what really feeds the soul, but also enjoying your body, enjoying the beauty around you while you are here, okay? If the Libra full moon lands within the 3rd house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Leo ascendant, you may potentially not be, you may just have 16 degrees Libra within your 3rd house. Either way, this reading is for you. So this full moon, essentially this balance between the learning and the teaching. There's this balance between the mind and the soul. So there's a couple of different pieces that are coming through here. For some of you, there is this balance between honoring both the eternal student as well as stepping up as a teacher, because I do see you guys have, you know, most likely, definitely the sun, but most likely Jupiter and Chiron within the 9th house. A lot of you are stepping up as spiritual healers or spiritual teachers in some avenue, or just teachers in general. But it's this balancing around continually learning and understanding that we have lots to learn from the people around us, while also using discernment to realize what rings true for your soul, for your spiritual journey at this time. That is why, you know, spiritual teachers, healers, it's not that they are healing us, right? It's that they create the space for us to heal ourselves. And when it relates to spiritual teachers, it's not that they are more evolved than us. They create the space to reflect to us what it is that we need to learn about our healing journey. Nobody is better than anybody. We are all wise in our own way, and we are all still learning on our path within our own way. So for some of you, you can find you're really in this like learning phase. You're maybe getting a certification, you're going to class, you're going to school. Maybe some of you are ready to step up as a teacher and to share, to publish a book, to teach, or something of that nature, what it is that you've been learning, but there is a divine balance. The most intelligent person in the room is not the person who is closed off, who feels like they know it all. It is the person who is still open to ask questions, who understands every single person has something to learn. No matter how educated you are, there's always something to learn. Every single professional, you know, eventually goes back to class. Like for me, I'm in astrology school. Obviously, I'm already certified, I'm already teaching, but there's always more to learn, and it's important to balance out these aspects. Maybe for some of you, you've been in the student role for too long, and it's time for you to start sharing. It's just time for you to start empowering others with all this energy happening in the 9th house. It's about a divine balancing here, as well as I want you to attune to, with the Libra within the 3rd house, really attuning to conversational abilities, whether or not you are, you know, conversing with people. With this also being the sector that has to do with social media, online activity, I would look at the balance in that. Are you spending, you know, too much time online and not as much time living, as well as tuning into other people's mental spaces and other people's opinions versus your own soul and your own spirit. Obviously, with the energy of Libra and in the 3rd house, paying attention to advice that comes through, inputs on social media or what have you that seems interesting, that comes through, but also use discernment. With the 9th house being emphasized, use discernment. Does this ring true for my own journey? Like I was highlighting about sacred mirrors earlier, people reflect to us, but again, we don't see them clearly. We see them through our own lived experiences, our own biases, and they can reflect something poignant to us, but not everybody's truth is meant to be taken on as our personal truth. So it's essentially this divine balancing around being open to what other people could teach and show you, while also be discerning enough to tune into what is ringing true for you personally at this time. If the Libra full moon lands within the 4th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Cancer rising, or you may just have 16 degrees Libra landing within the 4th house of your astrological natal chart. Either way, this reading is for you. So not all of you will be Cancer risings, but a lot of you will be. And I want to let you know that you are very sensitive to the moon, and particularly when there are full moons landing in angular houses, 1st, 7th, 4th, 10th, that is a more pivotal one for you. And this one particularly, a lot of emotions can come to the surface. You all are in a time, essentially, with Jupiter and Chiron in the 10th house, in which you are being asked to stretch and contort yourself into brand new ways. You're putting yourself out there in brand new ways. You're allowing yourself to be seen within your authenticity and vulnerability in brand new ways. You're learning new things at work in brand new ways. You're stepping up for leadership abilities in brand new ways. And there are some feelings of imposter syndrome that you are currently embarking upon, right? And your work is sort of that reflector of it. With this full moon within the 4th house, there is this essentially spotlight on essentially the roots of the tree, right? Because there's all of this energy taking place in these very public realms. So it is a very lucrative, or rather powerful time as it relates to visibility, putting yourself out there, career success. But with this full moon in the 4th house, it's asking you, how are you nourishing yourself? How are you balancing all of this growth you're experiencing within the public realm with what it takes to sustain yourself internally? With Chiron in the 10th house, as I highlighted, a lot of you are struggling with imposter syndrome. Can I do this? Am I able to do this? And with this Libra full moon, it's allowing you to hone in on where it is that you have found your own sense of self through others reflecting it to you. And again, with Aries in your 10th house, you are meant to be able to validate yourself. There can be micro ways in which you are essentially waiting on other people to validate you. So like giving a presentation and waiting for your coworker to be like, that was really good job. Like, it's not easy, but you're being asked to have confidence in relation to what it is that you're putting out there, and not wait for others to affirm or validate or see you, for you to know that what it was that you shared is something that is valuable and is powerful. The other lenses here is that I do want to highlight, a lot of you have just been spending a lot of time in work, and this is the energy to come back to what is sacred. Again, what nourishes your soul. It's not sustainable to be working all the time or so focused on fame that we forget to give to the private aspects of our world, right? What sustains your soul, bringing your soul back into balance, balancing out what it is that you are publicly with who it is that you are privately, and understanding. Some of you, I just feel strongly, you need balance with work and life. And I also feel some of you need balance around retaining who it is that you are, and understanding what it is that you do is not who it is that you are. What it is that you do within your job does not say anything or have any bearing on the person that you are when you return home, when you're sitting on the couch with your best friend, when you're hanging out with your sister. Like, that is you, okay? So not letting bad feedback, comments on the internet, wherever it is that you feel like you're opening yourself up for critique, that doesn't say anything about you. That's what it is that you do. It's not who it is that you are. So with this full moon, it's getting back to the sacred parts of yourself. For some of you, there can be spending time with family and them reflecting certain parts to yourself. Again, with Chiron involved, reflecting certain parts that need healing. Maybe some of you are hoping to find this success in order to feel like you are worthy. Okay, it's like you're trying to achieve your way out of healing, and it doesn't work like that. Like, yes, you can achieve a lot, but wherever you go, there you are. And with this full moon, it's asking you to return back to your roots, right? Whether it's physically spending time with family, whether it's doing what it is that nurtures you, whether it's just spending more time at home. I mean, to a literal level, some of you can just be wanting to inspire more beauty around the home, right? Buy some fresh flowers, buy yourself a new rug, something that inspires this beauty and this balance, right? But also, some of you are reflecting on your ancestry, or reflecting on your roots, or where it is that you come from, right? And allowing yourself to observe how that has positively or negatively affected your sense of self, right? As well as your goals and ambitions. I just feel very strongly, while it is a powerful time for you guys to be ascending to a leader, like a lot of you will have eclipses in this sector as well. A lot of you are being guided to level up as a leader and within your industry, and to have courage and to have boldness. But there's also this energy with this full moon around getting back to what nurtures you. So ensuring that, after a long day of going after your dreams, like, you are creating a home within your soul. You are providing the space for yourself to feel, right? For yourself to nurture what is dear to you. And I feel strongly, this will probably only be a message for a couple people, but I feel strongly with the Libra full moon, a lot of you were told that you had to be pretty and polished in order to receive adoration or validation. And parts of you feel, whether it's to an aesthetic level or just always being polite or always keeping the peace, some of you can have a hard time around really being able to embolden and put yourself out there, which you are being asked to do, because there are these leftover debris, is what I'll call it, around these messages around always gotta have it together. always got to be pretty. Things are about appearance. It's not about my true essence. And essentially allowing that energy to be spotlighted without getting attached to it, okay? It's part of your journey. It's not part of your future, right? When it comes to full moons in the 4th house, I always say, I'm like, this is essentially a time that, you know, the computer of your life, you realize which programs you're ready to uninstall. So it can shine a spotlight around, oh, I always felt like I had to be pretty and polished at my mom's house in order to enjoy love. Do I want this program to keep running on my system? No? Okay, let me allow this full moon to wash it away. And again, it's not overnight, but there can be something very powerful around allowing this debris, allowing these messages to be illuminated. If the Libra full moon lands within the 5th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Gemini ascendant. You potentially may not be a Gemini ascendant. You just have 16 degrees Libra within your 5th house. Either way, this reading is for you. It is safe for you to have fun. It is safe for you to attract individuals that activate that silly, playful side of yourself, okay? When it relates to full moon in the 5th house, a lot of you are healing some inner child stuff to a certain degree. And a lot of you are also healing, just with Chiron most likely in your 11th house, you're also healing friendship wounds. Some of you can be processing friendships that have not quite worked out, and some of you could have gotten a little heavy when it relates to that. And this full moon is sort of returning to the lightness of life, returning to the fun of life, allowing that silly side of yourself to be witnessed as it relates to group environments and things of that nature. This will only be a message for a couple people, but I feel for some of you, you need to get back to the art and the hobbies and the creativity that you like, rather than the kind of art that you feel like other people will like and will validate, right? And for some of you, I feel strongly there's two sides of the spectrum here. Some of you have been in this really hedonistic, partying all the time, not acknowledging things, trying to outrun the healing by partying and just staying busy and having fun. Some of you have been allowing your healing journey to be very, very serious and being very closed off. Like, again, laughter can be healing. Healing can be something lighthearted. Healing can be something playful. You can interweave healing into even just coloring on the beach can be helpful for your inner child. You can write a song about it. Like, it doesn't have to be something serious. I do feel for some of you, either you're being asked to balance out your fun with your goals, or you're being asked to just inspire more fun into your day-to-day and not take yourself so seriously, which can be healing in its own regard. Some of you, there's a huge spotlight on dating, okay? It's on romance, and perhaps with Chiron involved, there can be certain triggers that are coming to the surface within your relationship or within your intimacy within your relationship. And when it relates to Chiron stuff, again, with the full moon landing here, it's observing, am I attracting people who I'm healing within, that I'm growing within, or am I attracting individuals where I'm kind of in this wounded, triggered energy, right? And am I balancing out the time that I'm spending dating with the time that I'm spending on my own? Am I trying to avoid my healing by dating all of the time, right? I feel for some of you, you've been on this excess of energy, and some of you have to get back out there. Like, it's fascinating. I'm literally seeing it on both sides, which is so interesting because you guys are Gemini risings, but for some of you, you are closed off. You've been hardened, whether a friend did you dirty, someone in your life did you dirty, and you're just like, it is not safe for me to date. I do not want to put myself out there. And this full moon is about beginning to believe in the good and the sweetness in life. Some of you have been dating all of the time to try to just avoid your wounds, avoid your healing. You're just like, if I'm on a different date every night of the week, then I don't have to look at myself, then I don't have to deal with myself. And again, neither spectrum is ideal. We want it in between. We want to be able to interact with dating in a very mindful way, interact with fun and partying in a very mindful way, in a very playful way, not trying to escape anything, rather just allowing it to reflect and illuminate certain parts of our journey back to us. And random, but other themes that can come up. Some of you, it's about inner child healing, and with the opposition to Chiron, I just feel, it's not that it's bad, because you guys have Jupiter in the 11th house, so you are putting a lot of energy towards building your future, but you need to build your future while enjoying your present, okay? Some of you are taking yourself too seriously, and some of you either are working with your creativity in some way, or your dreams, there's so much forward momentum that you're forgetting to have hobbies. You're forgetting to enjoy. It really is this balance. How can I build the future while also enjoying the present, right? How can I expand my network while also having these activities that just make me feel alive, that bring pleasure and fun to my day-to-day? Other manifestations, some of you children themes can come up, whether healing your relationship with your children, healing your inner child, perhaps having conversations around children within your partnership. If you're in a relationship, this is a beautiful full moon to kind of get back to that playful, bantery side of initially getting to know one another, and essentially just remembering to enjoy the present while you build your future. If the Libra full moon lands within the 6th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Taurus rising. You potentially may not be a Taurus rising. You just have 16 degrees Libra within your 6th house. Either way, this reading is for you. So you are being asked to essentially balance the time that you spend in spirit with the time that you spend within your physical body and within your physical experience. And this is a divine balancing, and I do feel for those who are listening, you can go either way within the spectrum. Some of you have sort of been spending a lot of time in self-destructive tendencies. Some of you are really bad procrastinators. Some of you, maybe you've just been more solitude. Maybe some of you have been struggling with your mental health or something of that nature. And with this full moon, it's asking you to show up very practically and very tangibly for your experience. Now, some of you have been in this overdoing stage. You're busy, 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 one thing after the other, and you haven't been giving yourself downtime. You haven't really been feeding your soul. Either way, wherever you are within that spectrum, you are being asked to essentially find this equilibrium, essentially find this divine balancing of both nurturing who it is that you are as a soul, or what it is that you are currently moving through, the endings that you're processing, or the stories that you're processing, things of that nature, with Chiron most likely within the 12th, with showing up within your practical daily reality, understanding you are both a body as well as soul. And healing is both something that happens spiritually as well as physically. Like some of you, maybe you've been, eating salmon and going to Pilates and doing all the things, but you haven't been talking to yourself in a loving and kind way. Maybe some of you have been doing meditations and all of the things, but you're not moving your body. Healing takes place in both ways, right? It is both our spirit as well as our physical body. And whether you've been sort of in a state around inertia of really not doing much, or you've been overdoing, it really is this energy around finding balance, and particularly with the full moon in the 6th house, finding balance as it relates to your day-to-day. If some of you have been on kind of the procrastination, escapism side of things, it can feel overwhelming how much you have to do around this time. Full moons in the 6th house are always busy, busy, busy. It really is this energy around showing up and then giving yourself permission to tune out, right? It's this balancing. Like some of you can be in the overdoing, some of you could be in the underdoing, and it's a balance, okay? Like, we are souls, but we are here to be human. So this is partly a return to the maintenance of a human body. Okay, so some of you can be illuminating around, okay, I need to be moving my body more. I need to be taking better care of myself. I need to be eating better, what have you, wherever that is coming to the surface. Or some of you can be finding, like, I've just been doing. All of my value feels tied up to what I do for work or what I do for others. I need to get back to my own essence. It's difficult to talk about this one because I truly do feel like there's two different sides of the spectrum that you guys are on, and all of you guys need to find balance truly between the doing and the being, between the soul and the body. Maybe it is, scheduling dentist appointments, things of that nature. We do have a body. It does require maintenance, okay? And avoiding it doesn't make these things go away. Like, the best that I can say is whatever side on the spectrum you are at, find that balance, okay? Show up more when it relates to the maintenance of life. If you feel like you've been avoiding it, if you've been in the constant going, remember to have space, okay? With this energy of balance, remember to have space. You need to attune to your soul. Maybe you're drinking all the green juice, doing all the salmon, but you're not taking time to process your past or process what it is that you've been running from. It is this divine balancing, showing up for the maintenance of our daily life, for our job and for all our activities and for our service, while also giving to yourself. And for some of you who are in the overdoing states with this energy of Aries sun, I feel that some of you are really busy or like around a lot of people, or part of your value you could have been finding through what it is that you do. You are worthy to be able to give to what is sacred to you, to prioritize your own healing, to have solitude, right? I feel that some of you have been constantly around people, whether it is coworkers or things of that nature. And there's this energy around just finding balance, finding stillness, while also showing up for your daily activities, showing up for, your health and your maintenance of daily life, while also ensuring that you are doing your, meditation and healing work. This is the axis of healing in two different dimensions of it, both the physical level, moving our body, eating well, scheduling the gosh darn dentist appointments and all of those things, while also with the 12th house, the spiritual side of healing, connecting to our guides, connecting to what gives us a sense of faith within the bigger picture. That is something that can be part of healing. Like, it is helpful to believe in something bigger as we are on this journey forward. So it truly is this divine balancing of ensuring that you are showing up for the physical parts of your healing, right? Attuning to your health, while also attuning to your soul, right? Talking to yourself in a gentle and compassionate manner as you work out, right? If you're working out saying you need to do this because you're lazy, like, is that really supporting your health? Like, it is a balance of both these sort of psychological, under the surface spiritual dimensions of healing, with showing up practically, right? Ensuring that we are talking to us, ensuring that we are that perfect optimal health that we're looking for won't come just by doing the, mantras and chants. It's a blending of both, showing up for the physical while also showing up for the spiritual, as well as if some of you have been working a lot. I know full moons and 6th house do tend to be quite busy, ensuring that you're giving time to be on your own, within your own soul, to support and to balance all that you're doing. I feel that a lot of you have been working really hard. Again, finding that balance to get back to the you as you show up for the you plus me as it relates to work, or all of the connections that you have within work. I do find this will only be a message for a couple people, but there can be some triggering energy coming up, whether it's around coworkers, those that you work with, or someone that you've hired, something of that degree with Chiron within the 12th. But again, there can be certain coworkers who are reflecting really lovely things to you, or really powerful lessons to you. So being open to the sacred mirrors that you work with. Again, sometimes it's a sacred mirror around that is not how I want to be, or that person's projecting on me. But sometimes we can find delicious new parts of ourselves through the interaction of people within our daily life. If the Libra full moon lands within the 7th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be an Aries ascendant, or you just have 16 degrees Libra within the 7th house. Either way, this reading is for you. So my love, this is essentially a full moon that is casting a radiant spotlight as it relates to your one-to-one connections, relationships, and partnerships, and ensuring that they are balanced with your own true essence. I will let you know, if you have this here, you most likely have Jupiter within the 1st, Sun within the 1st house currently. And this is essentially a time to be visible, to put yourself out there, right? But with this full moon in the 7th house, it's essentially a time to ensure and to celebrate the people who are essentially supporting you in this journey, supporting you in this visibility, the people who hype you up, who make you feel confident and courageous and beautiful as you continue to claim this expansion that the cosmos are giving you. When it relates to having this Libra moon within the 7th house, it is a spotlight of all the connections in your life, wherever it is that they land. Some people you can observe around this time are really showing up for you in brand new ways that make you more confident to go out and do what it is that you need to do. I think a good way to tell if someone's good for you or not is like looking at your life. Okay, and obviously we're going to go through things regardless, but pay attention. When you interact with people, do things tend to go better, or do they tend to get worse? Like, I remember I was dating somebody, and after a trip with him, I got horribly sick. I got a parking ticket, and my business did awful that month. And I was like, ooh, something's happening to my energy, right? And my body was trying to tell me that this person was not it, right? And sometimes it can show up like that if someone's taking and siphoning from us or someone's giving to us. Do you feel more confident in this person's presence? Do you feel more beautiful in this person's presence? Now, I will say with the full moon in the 7th house, there can be this illumination of connection. So if you're in a partnership, an aligned time for a date night, right? And really honoring where it is that you feel celebrated within that connection, where the two of you are growing. Like I said, this is a really powerful full moon to illuminate. Are we growing and healing together, or are we keeping ourselves stuck in this wounded energy? And with the full moon, really illuminating and hyping one another up around where it is that you are growing, right? Some of you, there can be illumination on your partnership and just realizing we are not growing together, and maybe being able to reflect or have conversation in order to attune to how it is that we can grow beyond these hurdles or beyond these wounds. If you are single, there can be an illumination at this time around what it is that you want from a partner. And with the opposition to Chiron, perhaps healing old stories of what's come up within partnerships prior, and also what they made you feel like about yourself, my love. That's the thing. You really can't take things personally because people only see you through the lens of their own lived experiences. And I feel for some of you, someone tried to essentially sell you on a story that was not true. But for some of you, you worked that into your identity. Like you feel like you are not valuable because you had an ex or someone within your life who made you feel not valuable. That is not you, okay? And with this full moon illuminating, it's understanding the aspects of yourself and how they have been reflected and some distorted by the interaction with other, and celebrating the connections that make you feel more empowered, more you, more confident, while also calling back your energy and attention from the relationships that you feel like your energy is being siphoned. If the Libra full moon lands within the 8th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Pisces ascendant. You potentially may not be a Pisces ascendant. You may just have 16 degrees Libra in the 8th house. Either way, this reading is for you. So my loves, this is essentially a balance of money that you earn versus the money that comes to you from the universe ATM or other people. With this full moon within the 8th house, you essentially are being guided to understand all of the support that is around you. Now, it's not to say that you need to quit your job and not make money yourself. Like you have Jupiter in the 2nd house, you have Chiron in the 2nd house. For some of you, the act of making more money or prioritizing your own goals is actually something that is facilitating the healing process. It is allowing you to see the worth within yourself. So I'm not saying you need to cut that out, but what I am saying is with this Libra moon within the 8th house, I want you to observe where people are pouring into you, where you are feeling support from others. And if you feel safe allowing the support from others, some of you, this will not be a message for all of you, but some of you may be in this hyper independent state where you're like, I pay my own bills, I do what it is that I want, I don't need anybody, I don't need anybody, I don't need anybody. When you say that, you're also saying to the universe, I don't need you, I've got it. Like it is this divine energy of knowing that you are self-sufficient, you are capable, but that doesn't mean you can't receive from others. I feel some of you are being guided kind of tune more into this receptive energy, this feminine energy around receiving from others, even in micro ways. Do you feel safe receiving compliments from people, or do you feel like you have to rush to compliment them? Like, no, you. Micro ways like that, of ways where we do not feel comfortable receiving. I had a friend once who asked me, a great way to tell how comfortable receiving you are is whether or not you use the like soap and whatnot at the hotel restrooms, or whether or not you take free samples. Like the universe is trying to pour into you, it's trying to give through you. And how does it give through you? Through people. So if you shut yourself off from gifts or favors or things of that nature, the universe is like, okay, you don't want my help? Sure. Just kidding. The universe will never give up on you. But I just want you to be open, okay? And I want you to know that it is safe to trust. Some of you have been in the state around, I can do what I want, I earn what it is that I want, because you feel to let people in means to be let down. And you want to be in control of your own destiny so much that you don't want to let people in because you don't want to feel left down. And again, I'm not saying you need to be open to every single person who comes your way, but with this Libra full moon, it's essentially saying balance what it is that you can do for yourself versus being open to the support that can come through. Even if it's just like praying, like I'd shared in a little anecdote at the beginning, like I prayed for my partner and the universe was like, bet, here you go. Literally like 2 or 3 days after. Being open to ask for help, being open to ask for support, as well as for some of you who have businesses, there is this energy around with the second house energy, it's earning, it's working, it's paycheck, whereas eighth house is more risky, more passive affairs. So ensuring that you are building your business in a strategic way where you're able to multiply your time and energy, because your time is obviously finite. So some of you, it feels that if you're building your business in a way where you physically need to be clocked in, considering other passive means in which you can also be attracting, right, with the energy of Libra, attracting wealth and resources to you, as well as understanding and celebrating that when it comes to eighth house, it is this trustful energy, right? It is death and it is deep, deep, deep intimacy. And some of you are reacting from that wounded energy around feeling, closed off to life, closed off to transformation, because you want what it is that you can control. But transformation happens when we let go. There's this quote that I used to really resonate with, and it's like, you can hold on to the handlebars to give yourself the illusion of control, but it's more fun to allow the wind to carry you. Truly, like when it comes to second house, eighth house, you can feel like you're in control. I make my own money, I pay my own bills, like I have control over my resources, or I have control over my life. But at the end of the day, eighth house will constantly illuminate to us, at the end of the day, the universe is in control. It's a bigger force than us, and allowing ourselves to surrender into this flow, surrender into intimacy, allowing others and the universe to support us, as well as for some of you, there is this spotlight around your relationship and your guys' shared finances. If it is truly equal, maybe you're picking up more slack for your partnership. Maybe your partner is picking up more slack, but with the energy of Libra, there can be a balance of where that feels unfair. Because again, it's totally fine to allow one partner to kind of take on more of the breadwinner role, but essentially allowing what feels fair, what feels balanced for our connection. If the Libra full moon lands within the 9th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be an Aquarius ascendant, or you potentially may not be an Aquarius ascendant. You simply have 16 degrees Libra within your 9th house. Either way, this reading is for you. This is a divine reminder to balance logic with soul. And I know that's not easy, as a lot of you guys will be Aquarius ascendants and you are very logical about things. As it relates to this full moon, it's asking you to allow your soul to speak, and allowing the parts of yourself and of your life that don't make logical sense but feel good to the soul to essentially take center stage. A lot of you, there's a lot of activity within your mind, certainly with this Aries stellium building within the 3rd house. A lot of you might be learning something new. You might be really refining your communication strategy, something of that nature. And with this 9th house, it's asking you to return to the big picture of your life. It's asking you to return to spirituality and faith and to adventure and things that don't necessarily make sense but just feel right, that feel resonant as it relates to your own worldview, and to balance the two, to live a life that feels good to the soul and doesn't just make sense to the mind. Some of you need to see new stimuli, whether it is enrolling in class, right? Whether it is booking a trip. Some of you need to balance. Like I feel strongly that a lot of you are sort of in your comfort zone to a certain degree, or you're just kind of used to the same stimuli that you see every single day as you walk around your neighborhood and things of that nature. And with the Libra full moon, it's asking you to balance by getting out there, seeing some new sights, right? Getting out of your comfort zone to a certain degree, perhaps with a partner in tow with this energy of Libra full moon, and essentially knowing that you can't do life wrong. Like, when it comes to staying within our comfort zone, oftentimes we can overthink around, I just want to ensure everything goes right. Like with the Libra full moon within the 9th house, it just reminds me when I tap into this energy. Do you know that Alanis Morissette song where it's like, you live, you learn, you love, you learn? Like basically every single experience that you embark upon, you will learn something from. Every mentor that you essentially meet, you will learn something for. I feel strongly some of you are attracting at this time a very powerful spiritual mentor who will support your journey, or you are moving towards a new course or a new class or a new study that's going to support your world view. Again, like our mind is not designed to make us happy. It is designed to keep us alive, which means to see danger danger and to allow us to avoid it, right? Whereas adventure, vitality, even if some, shenanigans go on, we learn something from it. That's where we get the rich stories that we have to tell. So I just want to say, you cannot do life wrong. Remember to balance out the thinking with the living, right? The planning with the living, the learning with the teaching as well. Some of you are being guided to, maybe you are the mentor. Yeah, either attracting a mentor or stepping up as a mentor. Either attracting someone who's going to support your spiritual journey, or stepping up as somebody who can support others' spiritual journey through your gift of being able to be a reflector. Yes, okay, with the Libra full moon in the 9th house, you can be a gifted reflector for other individuals. Because again, it's not this pretentious thing. It's not that people who are spiritual or intuitives or mystics are better than other people. They simply have this skill and they know how to hone it in order to reflect powerful insights for others. So whether you choose to step up within this industry as a writer or publishing or teaching or something of that nature, or you're attracting someone who could be a way shower, again, illuminating to you your own power that you naturally have, there is this beautiful, essentially, balancing of the teaching with the mentoring, with the learning, with the living, with the adventuring, with the comfort zone. So I'm so excited for you. If the Libra full moon lands within the 10th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Capricorn ascendant. You potentially may not be a Capricorn ascendant, but either way, this message is for you. So with this full moon, it is this divine, essentially, spotlight as it relates to the value that you create for others within your world. And some of you need this illumination, essentially, to understand what it is that you do, the value that you provide does not say anything about you as a soul. With the Aries sun and Jupiter in Aries and all of its energy in the 4th house, you are being asked to sort of build your career from this heart-centered, soul-centered space, right? And ensuring that you are giving to your emotional space what it is that you need, ensuring that you are grounding down into what it is that makes you feel cared for, and allowing your business or your career to come from that soul-centered space. For some of you, as it relates to this, you are finding your value through the reflection of others. If people give you great reviews, you feel amazing. If people give you bad reviews, you feel horrible. There can be this energy around allowing your value to be reflected into the customers or the bosses that you serve. And I just want to say, if that is coming to the surface, cancel. With this opposition to Chiron, something can trigger you or point at a wounded part to yourself without you feeling like you have to personally identify it. So all I want to say, with this full moon in the 10th house, allow yourself to, yes, honor and celebrate the feedback that you get within your world. Like, I literally have a happy folder on my email where, when someone sends me a sweet email or lovely reviews, I just put it into that. So if I'm feeling down on myself, I read it again. It's not saying I need that to validate me, but it's nice to honor the impact that you are creating within this world. However, knowing that at the end of the day, the only one who can truly validate what it is that you do is you. And during this time, you can find that you attract people as it relates to your work who mirror something to you about you. It's so fascinating. Whenever I meet with clients, there's always a message. And again, I'm not selfish about it at all, but I always find there's a message that comes through for other people that sometimes I needed to hear as well. Like, it's so magical and so synchronistic, and observing the people who are attracted to my work at certain points in my time, messages within their chart reflect something that I'm personally moving through. Again, sacred mirrors. We all are here reflecting powerful lessons and pieces towards one another. So even observing that boss that triggers you, those clients that trigger you, what can they be reflecting to you about you? Some of you, as it relates to the Libra full moon, there could just be a lot of mental thoughts around work, but I want you to ensure that you're balancing what it is that you do with what it is that serves you to the core, as well as with Chiron and Jupiter in the 4th house, not trying to achieve your way out of healing or trying to achieve your way out of, the ancestral or generational wounding that has encased you. If the Libra full moon lands within the 11th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Sagittarius rising. You potentially may not be a Sagittarius rising, but regardless, this reading is for you. So with this Libra full moon within the 11th house, I want you to observe what it is that your friendships are reflecting to you about you. Now, I know a lot of you guys are Sagittarius rising, so you are someone where you want to do your own thing. Freedom is paramount. And there can be energy that you butt up against sometimes around being like, I just want to be my own person. I just want to do my own thing, which certainly do that. But also there is something powerful around bouncing our energy off of friends, and even just observing the people that are attracted to us at this moment, whether it's like within your followers or within the people that you are surrounded at work. Like even taking that beat to be like, okay, if every person had a message for me, what is the universe trying to show me through these people? And even the people who trigger me, what are they reflecting to me about me? And how can I allow that without feeling personally triggered or personally wounded? Because again, the only person that can disempower you is you. Like other people can poke and try, but at the end of the day, if you give them a reaction, you are taking power away from yourself. Get into this Libra measured energy by just like looking at your colleagues, particularly the ones who trigger you or the ones who inspire you, and really looking, what is this person reflecting to me about me, right? With this Libra full moon, some of you are being asked to balance the day-to-day, the creative expression, the raw truth of self, while also ensuring that you are networking with the right people, right? Like you guys have a lot of energy within the 5th house. So there is a lot of energy being directed towards your creative pursuits. There's a lot of energy being directed towards this experience of fun, but ensuring that you are building for tomorrow while enjoying today, okay, is the ask here, as well as ensuring that you are building your future in a measured way with the energy of Libra, and being able to really connect and network with the aligned souls that you are meant to essentially ascend with. And I also feel for some of you, it's this Libra helping hand energy. Like if you've ever heard like one hand reaching down, one hand reaching up, like contemplate the colleagues or the people within your world who have helped you out, right? Like they put one hand down, they pulled you up to where it is that they are. But also when you're up there, when you've ascended, whether this is with your creative pursuits, whether it's within your job, also remember to help somebody else out. Like 11th house is the house of friends who help us, right? And appreciating the symbiotic energy around who it is that you know, and intentionally fueling activities of people who see the future similarly to you and people who can help you get to where it is that you want to go, while also staying present and aware to opportunities that you can pass towards your network. Essentially nurture your network and it will nurture you. Nourish your future while also enjoying your present, and you will have this really balanced pathway forward to success. If the Libra full moon lands within the 12th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Scorpio ascendant. You potentially may not be a Scorpio ascendant. Regardless, this reading is for you. This is an energy to essentially get to the core of what the relationships within your life have internalized to you about you. Some of you, I feel there's been a toxic workplace or toxic bosses. Some of you, it just could be toxic relationships, but there are certain embedded messages that are within your subconscious around your own worth and your own value. Some of you feel that your value is tied up into how much you can possibly do, whether it's doing for others, right? In that energy of overgiving, whether it's that energy around feeling like you have to be efficient and busy all of the time. There needs to be this divine recalibration, my love. Like there needs to be this energy of understanding who it is that you are as a soul, and that you cannot make your schedule so busy that you avoid all your healing, right? It does take that balance to be able to tune inward. And I want you to know, I don't know if it was a boss, I don't know if it was a workplace, but I strongly feel for some of you, there were certain experiences that made you feel like I am only as worthy as what it is that I do for others, okay? And with this Libra full moon, get back to what people reflected to you and how you internalize those pieces, as well as balance out the doing with the feeling, balance out the doing with the healing. And with all this energy in the 6th house, absolutely work out, attune to your health, but ensure you're doing the psychological work as well. Ensure that you are carving time for solitude, right? To carve time for your own pursuits, for your own energy. Like a lot of you guys will be Scorpio risings, which is an energy about merging with others, right? So for some of you, whether you're healing from a relationship or there's just an energy around diving deep into the connections within your life and what they've internalized about you, there is this energy around remembering to also, have your own space. Like, when it comes to Scorpio Ascendant, you guys do want to merge within your connections. There's nothing wrong with that. But ensure you take time to contemplate, what is it that makes me feel balanced? How much alone time soothes me that I'm able to get back to my own energy? I just want you to get back to understanding that your worth is not how helpful you are for others. Your worth is not how busy and how efficient you are every moment in the day. I want you to get back to that worth that radiates just because you are human, as well as balance out the physical aspects aspects of healing with the mental psychology aspects of healing as well. So my loves, this Libra full moon is such a potent, powerful opportunity to shine this spotlight on our relationships and how they are either creating the pathway to healing or triggering our insecurities and keeping us within that wounded space. I hope you all have such a balanced, harmonious, beautiful Libra full moon. I would love to hear what's coming to the surface for you. If you feel inclined, my Instagram is @HaleyCommentAstrology. My TikTok is the same. I would so love to connect with you either on the Libra full moon or on anything else. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.